Garbage bag. What do we do with them? We put garbage in them. If we don't put garbage in them, then we get on an episode of Hoarders. Gets pretty overwhelming if we don't throw our garbage away, right? So this is just a garbage bag. This isn't just a garbage bag to me any longer. When I see this bag, I see my husband. On October 20th, 2016, I came home after a night of training, opened my garage door, and my husband of 15 years was sitting in there with a garbage bag around his head, a helium tank hooked to it, and a siphon hose running up. Our 4 children slept inside, and now I'm here picking up the pieces.
911.
I need a deputy to come to my house.
What's your address?
173 Valley View Drive.
973 Valley View. What's going on?
My husband has committed suicide.
Okay. What's your name?
Heidi?
Heidi, hand 1 second, okay? That's Paygo Squad to 973 Valley View for a 58.
Oh my God!
Heidi, hang on a second.
Oh my God!
Heidi, hang on.
Oh my God! Oh my
969.
Oh my God!
Heidi, just stay on the line with me. Hang on. 9, I need you to go to 973 Valley View. 973 Valley View for a 58.
Oh my God!
No, negative 58. Heidi?
What?
I know it's going to be hard. What did he do?
I don't know. I came home, and he's got a plastic bag over his head, and he's sitting in the garage. I can't touch him. I can't go in there. Oh my God.
Heidi, can you go and check if he has a pulse?
He doesn't have a pulse. I can see his hand and his sleeve.
He what? Heidi? Heidi, calm down for me. Heidi? Heidi, I need you to breathe. Heidi, talk to me.
Oh my God. Marriage, I don't know what he did.
Okay. Heidi?
What?
Breathe, okay? If you have to, you can go outside, okay? Just step away.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God. I have 4 kids here.
Okay. Heidi, don't let them go near him, okay? Keep them out of the garage. Heidi?
It's just been over a year. And when I talk to people and tell them our story, I tell them that was the easiest day. The day I found my husband dead was the easiest day. It's been every single day since then that has been pure hell. This happened on a Thursday. My children had school the next morning. I didn't know what to do. I live 1,000 miles from family. I had nobody there for me. Somehow, despite the fact I hadn't slept, I got my children up that morning, dressed, sucked it up, told them I had allergies, and made minimal eye contact with them. And I sent them to school. I don't know how I did it, but it bought me a few hours to process what just happened to me, what my life, what my children's life was going to be like forever. That night when they took my husband and began calling him a body and not Jesse, they told me he would be down at the lower morgue of the hospital. After my children went to school, I don't know why I did, but I needed to. I drove myself to the hospital. And I didn't really ask, I more or less demanded to see my husband. And they thought he was a patient there, and I said, oh, no, nope. He's in your morgue, and I want to see him. I didn't know that because it was an unwitnessed death that it meant he was going to have an autopsy. But by the time I got there, they had already taken him. The body has been transported, they said. I couldn't do anything about it. I called the medical examiner's office and asked if I could waive the autopsy. I didn't want an autopsy. I didn't want my husband, this brilliant man, to be cut open and dissected. And there's nothing I could do about it. I had no choice with him dying. I had no choice with him being cut apart. I had no choice. My children still didn't know that Dad was gone. They were at school. Life was perfectly normal for them. 4 days later, when I got the call from the medical examiner's office that his body was done, and I asked if I could see him before the funeral, before he was sent to the funeral home for the preparations. I went in there. He was dressed in just a regular hospital gown, laying on a table. And as I walked up to him, I was completely unprepared for what I was going to see. An incision from one side to the other side of his head. When I put my hand on his chest, cold. We've all been to funerals. Cold. Feel the incision on his chest. This is what you guys do when you kill yourselves to the wives. I stood next to him and I begged him to wake up. I put my arm across his chest and I just looked at him. I said, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. He just laid there. I left the funeral home, and the first phone call I got was my older brother. And he said, well, what are you doing? Well, I just left the funeral home. I said, well, no, what are you doing with your life now? What are you going to do? Like, I'm going to make this drive for 500 feet and take a left. That's about all I had planned at that moment. And that was it. My kids still hadn't known about this, and it was like 4 days later. I didn't know how to tell them. I knew I had to tell them. I mean, obviously they're going to notice Dad wasn't coming home. And it just happened. My family finally arrived, and I told them to get out of the room. And my 8 and 10-year-old were standing there, and they're kind of looking at me, and they knew something wasn't right. And I said, you know how sometimes there are things in life we don't understand. My daughter, her face, for you guys that have kids, her face just like melted, and she's like, Mom, what's wrong? I said, I don't know what happened yet, you guys, but Daddy died. I will never forget my husband's face in that garbage bag. The image of his face is what I think of. I don't see that picture first when I think of him, but he did erase that for me. I see a 6'1" man with a garbage bag around his head. The images of my children curling their bodies and the screams that came from them, those two things are two of the last things I think of every single night when I go to sleep, the very first things I think of every morning when I wake up. For the funeral, there was a lot of argument amongst his department as to whether or not to have officer presence at the funeral because he was a coward in their eyes. He took his life. We're not going to honor him. There's an argument at the staff meeting as to whether or not even to black stripe their badges in honor of him. A few of the deputies said they didn't care. They were going to do it anyways, despite what other people thought. Before the funeral, I met with his sheriff, And she told me in 4 days, at this point, 4 days, my private health insurance would run out. COBRA payment was $2,400 a month. There's nothing they could do for us. I didn't have $2,400. I had a $14,500 funeral that I had to pay for. Children and I lost our health insurance. We lost Jesse, and the next thing we lost was the sheriff's office. They were there for the funeral. 6 of them, I think, were pallbearers, my son being the honorary pallbearer. But the moment the casket was closed, so was the relationship with the sheriff's office. At the dinner service after his funeral, a lot of them took a knee to my children and said, even though your dad is gone, you have a father in all of us here at the sheriff's office. October 20th was a year. Not one phone call, not a text, not an email, not a letter, nothing. Why? That's something you guys can answer. I'm not a cop. I know how I would act if it happened to somebody that I loved, somebody that I worked with. You guys are police officers every single day. You go to a crime, you have to make sense of it. You need to know why. Why? Why did this happen? Who did this? What brought this on? Does why matter in a suicide? I've been living it for over a year, and I can tell you there isn't an answer out there that is going to justify my husband taking his life. Nothing. I wrote an article, and Law Officer published it 6-7 months ago, and I called it Because He Didn't Like the Color Green. I said he just got jazzed up one day and couldn't handle living with the color green, so that's why he took his life. Like, that seems weird. I'm like, so is any other explanation that anybody can come up with. Financial problems, I've heard that. Marital problems, I've heard that. Struggles on the job, all of that. The fact is, his garbage bag was never filled until the last day of his life. Then he filled it, and he took himself out. You guys have garbage bags every single day. You've got the mental one. Put the stuff in it that's bothering you every single day. You can't get rid of it. The garbage isn't gone per se because the garbage man comes, takes it, puts it in a landfill. But the thing is, when you get rid of it, you give it to somebody else and share like I'm sharing now, it helps. Talking helps. Law enforcement loves to refer to themselves as superheroes. There isn't a single one of you in here that's a superhero. You do amazing things, but you all probably cry in movies, I'm sure. Dog's Purpose. You guys are all crying. You're not superheroes, you're humans. I'm asking you, for me, for my children, who are fully in support of me being out here speaking and talking about Dad, I ask that you throw your garbage away. Fill that bag. Think about what suicide does, because it is absolutely devastating. The day he killed himself was the easy day. This isn't easy. Bearing what my family went through is not easy, but it helps. Because in the last few months, numerous messages, emails, phone calls I've received from officers who said my story stopped them from killing themselves. I don't know what else I can ask for. Go back to your departments and talk to them. Figure out what you guys would do if this darkened your guys' doorsteps. I would hope that you guys don't do what my husband's department did. I'm not mad at them. I'm not bitter with them. They just weren't taught. So, thank you.